my siblings forced him, held a gun to his head to change the will. So I'm out of it, right? Or people who are landing up in the women's shelter, husbands or spouses usually are changing things. Is there any kind of help that they can count on?
Well, we see some of those people through the family law courts, and if they're not particularly well off, they can get legal aid certificates, and we get legal aid clients. We help them.
Okay, that's what I was getting to. So you are covering them too, and it could be for any subject that you cover.
No, family or criminal law for legal aid.
I see. How about real estate? Well, that comes under family, I guess.
Legal aid doesn't cover real estate. That's private.
I see. Okay. And somewhere I think you mentioned to me that if somebody needs you, you can give them so many minutes of free counseling before they decide whether they're signing you on or not.
Well, as a general rule, I don't turn people away if they have a problem they want to discuss, and even if it doesn't turn into a file, I'll spend 20 minutes to half an hour with them. I think a lot of small town lawyers do that. That's goes with the territory. You're sort of a resource person in the community. So I suppose if I had $100 for every free consultation I gave, that would amount to a fair bit of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then you're not doing that 10 times a day.
No.
No, right. Recently, you may have noticed a lot of people have opened up shop in town in the last 10 years. When I say recently, I'm talking about 10 years. So I believe you're not allowed to advertise. Am I right?
As a lawyer?
Yeah.
Well, you can advertise, but there are rules about the nature of your advertising. I can have a website, for example, and some lawyers advertise on TV. I'm sure you've seen their ads, especially for personal injury claims. But the advertising is regulated by the Law Society, so you can't just say, "Come to me, I'm the best lawyer in the world," sort of thing. You have to abide by the limits and restrictions imposed by the Law Society.
How about if I said that you're the best lawyer in town? Is there an objection to that?
Well, I have Google reviews online, and people are free to say that I'm the best lawyer or the worst lawyer on those reviews. So
no, if I say worst, you might sue me.
No, I couldn't sue you for that. I could the best I could do would be to respond. They give you an opportunity to respond to the review. You can say, well, I did my best for this person, or this person wasn't really a client, or things of that nature.
How about reviews? Posting satisfied clients' reviews. Are you allowed to do that?
Well, yes, but the Google reviews the clients post themselves.
I see. Okay. So social media has taken over most of that stuff, has it?
Well, it's taken over how people find you. I think that they'll do a quick search on their phone, lawyers in Kincardine, and see who comes up, and that's how a lot of referrals come in, I suppose, is through websites and websites that are searchable on a phone in particular, because people are addicted to their phones and have them in their hands all the time.
Anything else that you like to talk about before I get to the next subject?
Well, bring on your next subject, Ed.
Okay. So recently, I saw your two young men with you. Tell
My
me about.
sons?
Yeah, your sons. They're like your brothers now.
Well, they're 22, so they're grown men.
And they're tall boys like you.
They're average height. They're not as tall as I am.
But you're still they're still growing kids. So
Well,
they
they're
may,
22, so I don't think they're going to grow any taller.
no, no, okay.
They'll probably broaden some, thicken up some, but they're not going to get any taller.
Okay. Now, what would you recommend to anybody else who's raising kids like you are, and you are influencing them but not pressuring them? I've already talked about that guidance towards their career.
Mhm.
What other tips when you give us?
Well, I always taught my sons to be polite and respectful because, as I said to them many times, as their grandmother said to them many times, manners will get you far in life. And I think they took that on board because they are both well-mannered young men.
And compliments go to your mom, who I knew very well. I should acknowledge her too. And she was in town and she lived with you. You looked after each other well. So
Mhm.
she was a very, very polite lady. I forget the last name, but does
Knickerbocker.
Oh, so I was right. I didn't want to take a wild guess, say Knickerbocker. Yeah. And she was a fine lady. And we met her also through the theater.
Mhm.
Thing. Okay. Okay. My couple of questions I've got. I know you're a vigorous reader. You can read like crazy. And at one of my stand-up comedies, I mentioned about the rest of us struggling to learn the words of Hark the Herald Angels Sing Glory to the Newborn King while you were reading War and Peace. And you had a lot more script to deliver than we did. So things like that. How do you influence kids or the younger generation to read as opposed to Googling things, which I have the bad habit. I do everything, and I don't complete any books. So I go through the pages that I like, then I skip to page 99. The benefits of reading, other benefits, not besides the knowledge part, concentration.
Well, concentration is one, and I think it calms the mind, takes you away from yourself. I always read to my children when they were young. That I think was an influence on them because they're both voracious readers themselves. But they read some physical books, but they read mostly on tablets or on their phones. But they read books. They've always got books going.
I like reading on media, digital media, because any word I find there that I don't understand, I can quickly say, translate this for me or tell me the meaning or put it into
Mhm.
saying read later, right?
Mhm.
However, if I read to my grandkids from that, I'm not setting a good example, right?
Mhm.
So I've got to read them 365 page books that I got. I got to hold them up till they fall asleep, whether I like it or not, right? So you see that trend changing and you see a loss in that.
The loss in the move away from physical books to digital media.
Yeah.
Well, there is something comforting about a book in hand and the smell of the pages and the ink on the pages that a device can't replicate. So um, there'll always be, hopefully, a place for physical books. I hope they don't go away. But for most people, it's just so convenient to read on a device that that's the way of the world nowadays.
But it can also be fake news.
Well, if you're talking about information websites or news websites, yes, you have to be careful of the source. I was talking about books that you download onto a tablet or a
No,
phone.
but a book that you downloaded, a book that I downloaded, from that wherever it said, thou shalt not, I take the word not out and then I share it with you. So you don't call it Eddie Daniels' book. You just still call it the original author's book, but now you got false information. Whereas in a printed book, it's hard to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how the technology works, Ed, but when I order a book online from Amazon, I don't think there's a way to tamper with it. So
Okay.
I think that the integrity of the text is preserved somehow. You can't meddle with it, but I'm not
Right.
quite sure how they do that though.
Right. Right. Now, I know you have tons and tons of high volume books. And one of your skills is, you read a 100-page document in a flash and you know where all there are keywords, right? And is that the only way to develop the skill is from experience?
Well, experience helps you to be able to scan documents and pick out the most salient points. Yes.
Okay.
That comes with time and experience.
Okay. So two other topics that I'll pick on, and then I won't take too much more of your time. One of the comments that we made the other day was, I was talking to the younger generation, and I said, we all have 4-bedroom homes plus now, right? But rarely have guests come stay overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I had a 1-bedroom home, I've had a dozen people sleep under the dining table too, and we had fun.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a change of times, or is that a change of our affluence that we're giving up that habit?
Well, perhaps it's affluence, and perhaps it's an indication of how our interactions have changed. That we've gone from meeting in person to sending text to each other, which is a pity. There should be more in-person entertaining and talking and visiting, but we are moving away from that, unfortunately.
And do you miss that lack of support that we got, whether it was good advice or bad advice, but we got to talk about it, about our problems, as opposed to gossip?
Well, I'm as opposed to gossip.
No, I mean, if you and I get together, if we are brothers and we get together once a month, we are reluctant to share about our problems, but we'll say, hey, you know what's happening to John's problem? That I call gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I may be going through the same and I'm reluctant to share that with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a pretty private person anyway, Ed, so I don't tend to share my problems with even those closest to me, but I do miss I speak to my sons on the phone, but I do miss our visits, our physical visits.
So then the paid psychiatrists, they take a big role in our life, which our parents never depended on. Am I right?
Well, I think you'd have a hard time finding a psychiatrist to listen to you in rural Ontario. They're quite thin on the ground. Counseling options are limited. So I don't know what people do for if they're troubled, who they talk to. I suppose close friends or parents, or if they're lucky.
Okay, Scott, I've taken a lot of your time and I appreciate that. Is there anything in closing that you'd like to share for a few minutes or talk about or ask me?
No, I'll just thank you for the time we've had today, Ed, and wish your viewers the best. And if you need legal help in Kincardine, I'm here to help.
Well, you are my lawyer, so I know what you're capable of and you're helping me. But for the record, tell everybody, what all are you helping me with, or what else could you help me with?
Well, over the years, Ed, I've helped you with the real estate transactions. I can't remember whether I've done a will for you or not.
No, you've done a well. Yes, you have.
I have, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
will and real estate is what we've done for you.
and you've done a living will for me.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are all things that amateurs, laymen don't know. So don't hesitate to advertise that. This is your chance to tell us what all you can do. Okay. Now, if I go to McDonald's and spill a cup of coffee, will you help me sue them for $1 million?
That wouldn't be me, no.
I'm just kidding. But I'll end on a funny this thing. I was in Europe somewhere, I think in Italy or Switzerland, and they had these big coffee mugs like they have at Starbucks, and they had for 15 different languages. And I asked the waiter when he's killing time, he was free, so he was asking me where I came from, how I learned English. He was curious that a brown-skinned guy spoke better English than a Frenchman. So we were going through this. Then I picked up the thing and I said, what did this say? He said, that's Italian, that is Dutch, that is Swiss, that is this.
Well, that's the European Union rules. You have to have all the
Yeah,
language.
so I said, what does it translate? And he talked over everything under the sun, other than be careful, it may be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Contents may be hot was written only in English. So I asked him, I said, how come it's written only in English and not in all the other languages? So he just gave me a dirty look and he says, other people know. It's only the English people have to be told, don't hold it between your legs, it could be hot. And this was the waiter telling me that. So we had a good chuckle on that, and the 4 or 5 tables sitting around us, they all burst out laughing. So then one guy over there told us that about 4 lawyers who met at a conference, and they said, returned from a conference in New York to Europe, and they said, how did it go? And he said, this, and this. So he said, I helped somebody who tripped over a tile, and he sued them for $5 billion. Somebody else slipped on the front step. Somebody else slipped on the porch, and this word so many. So the waiter says, he said, I think I'm also going to go to New York. So they asked him, he said, you want to become a lawyer? He said, no, he said, I'm just going to go there and trip on the front step. Okay, Scott, thanks very much. I appreciate you giving me your time. And if there's anything else you think of, I'll be a couple of weeks before I put this out. So don't hesitate to call me. And I'm free to use your business card.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'll promote that. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks,
Take
Ed,
care.
you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.